fans are reminiscing about the Atlanta musician who changed their lives. Brent Hinds, the co-founder of Mastodon, died Wednesday in a crash here in Atlanta.
It's the end of the world, as you know it, but I feel fine.
Brent Hinds, the passionate guitarist of Mastodon, left behind a legacy that continues to move fans deeply. But what truly made up this fortune he left behind? Was it simply wealth, or something more profound? His memories, his music, and the life he built through love and marriage. His artistry wasn't just about notes and chords, it was about connection and meaning. Join us as we uncover the lasting impact Brent Hinds left for his family and admirers alike. The man behind the music. Brent Hinds became a name that fans of heavy music could never forget. As the lead guitarist and one of the vocalists of Mastodon, he was not just another musician in a band. He was the creative force that shaped the sound of modern metal, blending raw power with an artistry that was both daring and unforgettable. To understand Brent is to see how his guitar and voice turned noise into something meaningful, a sound that fans carried in their hearts for years. From the very start of Mastodon's rise, Brent carried a unique presence. While most metal bands followed a familiar pattern of fast riffs and loud vocals, he was always searching for something new. His way of playing guitar stood out because he mixed heavy metal with rock, blues, and even touches of experimental sounds. This was not just about making music loud, it was about giving it depth. He layered complex rhythms, haunting melodies, and emotional notes that created an entirely new experience for listeners. It made Mastodon more than just a metal band. It made them a band that pushed boundaries and opened doors for what the genre could become. Fans quickly noticed that Brent's style was fearless. He was not afraid to mix sounds that others thought did not belong together. A guitar riff could start heavy and crushing, then suddenly drift into something soft and almost dreamlike. His vocals added another dimension, moving from raw growls to smooth tones that carried emotion in every word. This ability to blend harshness with beauty became one of the signatures of Mastodon, and Brent was right at the center of it. The recognition he and the band earned was not accidental. With albums like Leviathan, Mastodon caught the attention of the entire metal scene. The album became a landmark, often listed among the greatest metal records of its time. It showed the world that Mastodon was not afraid to take risks, and those risks paid off. Crack the Sky followed, proving that the band could create music that was not just heavy, but also deeply emotional and thought-provoking. Then came Emperor of Sand, an album that brought them even more attention, not just from fans, but from the industry itself. This record earned them a Grammy, a recognition that confirmed what fans had known for years, that Brent Hinds and Mastodon were leaders in modern metal. Winning a Grammy was more than just a trophy for Brent. It was proof that his constant pushing of boundaries mattered. It showed that heavy music, often overlooked by the mainstream, could hold power, artistry, and meaning that deserved recognition at the highest level. To fans, it was a moment of pride, because they knew that Brent's vision had brought their favorite music into the spotlight where it belonged. Beyond Mastodon's albums and awards, Brent's influence spread far wider. He was not the kind of artist who limited himself to one project or one sound. He collaborated with other musicians, bringing his creativity into different spaces. From side projects like Fiend Without a Face to West End Motel, he explored sounds that stretched beyond metal. These projects gave him the freedom to play with new ideas, mixing genres and creating music that was strange, fun, and exciting. Each collaboration revealed another side of his talent and reminded fans that Brent was not only about heavy riffs, but about musical exploration in every form. So, with this successful career of his, what fortune was he able to build for himself and his family? The fortune built on sound and stage. Brent Hinds did not build his fortune overnight. What he left behind was the result of years of passion, long hours on stage, countless days in studios, and an endless drive to create music that sounded unlike anything else. His wealth became a symbol of his dedication, showing how music could bring both joy to fans and stability to the artist who gave them that joy. Every dollar, every recognition, and every piece of his estate was tied to the art that made him a legend. At the center of his earnings were Mastodon's albums. Each release brought waves of excitement to fans and contributed to the steady growth of his financial standing. Records like Leviathan, Crack the Sky, and Emperor of Sand were not only critically acclaimed, but also commercially successful. Album sales carried both upfront income and long-term royalties, ensuring that even years after their release, Brent continued to see rewards. These songs were played on streaming platforms, purchased as physical records by collectors, and licensed for various uses, keeping money flowing in while the music reached new audiences across the world. Touring added another layer to his fortune. Mastodon became a powerful live act, performing in cities across continents and headlining major festivals. Each ticket sold, every packed venue, and every festival slot added to Brent's financial base. The energy of these shows did more than build wealth. It created unforgettable memories for fans who often followed the band from city to city. Touring was exhausting but profitable, and for Brent, it represented one of the most direct ways his art was rewarded. The revenue from these tours contributed significantly to his estate, showing how much the live side of music mattered. Merchandising also played a key role. Fans wanted more than just music. They wanted to wear Mastodon's identity proudly. T-shirts, posters, vinyl editions, and other exclusive products became steady sources of income. These items connected fans to the band in a personal way and turned support into financial strength. Merchandising, often overlooked in the industry, became a cornerstone of Brent's fortune. Every fan who wore a Mastodon shirt or bought a limited edition album was part of the network that built his financial legacy. In addition to Mastodon's success, Brent explored side projects that widened his creative and financial reach. Bands like Fiend Without a Face and West End Motel allowed him to stretch beyond heavy metal and experiment with other styles. Though these projects were smaller in scale, they added to his earnings while allowing him to stay true to his artistic curiosity. Each collaboration, whether with fellow musicians or through guest appearances, carried financial rewards that accumulated over time. These ventures reflected both his desire to keep creating and his ability to turn creativity into tangible value. By the height of his career, Brent Hinds' net worth was estimated in the millions. His assets included not only cash from sales and performances, but also valuable guitars, equipment, and property that represented his success. Unlike many who struggled to find financial stability in the music industry, Brent managed to build a foundation that balanced artistic freedom with financial security. This balance was rare and admirable, especially in a field where fortunes could rise and fall quickly. Fans often reacted emotionally when they learned about the scale of his fortune. To them, it was not just about the numbers, but about what the numbers meant. Each dollar symbolized a song that moved them, a show that left them speechless, or a memory tied to his music. Supporters felt a personal connection to his success, as if their loyalty had been part of building his wealth. They cried not only because he had achieved so much, but because his fortune was living proof of his dedication. For many, it was comforting to know that Brent's hard work had been rewarded, that his music had given him both artistic triumph and financial peace. So who did he leave these fortunes for? Let's find out. Love, marriage, and family. Behind every great artist, there is often a private world that few get to see. For Brent Hinds, the stage was his arena, but at home, he found a different kind of peace. His marriage to Erica Hinds brought balance to a life often filled with loud music, bright lights, and constant travel. While his guitar and voice carried him across the world, his relationship grounded him in something steady, personal, and full of warmth. Erica was more than just his partner. She was a constant presence who shared in both his triumphs and his challenges. In a career where long tours and endless schedules could easily weigh someone down, having a supportive spouse made all the difference. Their relationship gave Brent the stability to return to his music refreshed and focused, knowing that home was always a safe place. Fans often admired this part of his life because it showed a softer side of the man whose guitar work shook arenas. Their marriage was not built on public displays, but on private strength. Unlike some celebrities who placed their personal lives in the spotlight, Brent and Erica kept much of their world away from constant attention. Still, moments surfaced through interviews and appearances, reminding fans of their bond. Whether attending events together or sharing glimpses of their life as a couple, they gave small windows into a love that was quiet yet strong. These moments highlighted how Brent, known for his wild and creative spirit on stage, also valued calm and companionship when the lights dimmed. Family life, in many ways, became the balance to Brent's intense career. Touring for months at a time, working on albums deep into the night, and collaborating with other musicians demanded enormous energy. Yet, when he returned home, Erica provided a space where he could simply be himself. It was not about fame or fortune, but about everyday comfort, simple routines, laughter shared in private, and the presence of someone who understood the pressures of his career. This balance gave him a kind of emotional clarity that fed back into his music. Fans could often feel the depth in his songs, and much of that came from his experiences of love and connection away from the stage. Although Brent did not have children publicly known, his affection for family life was clear in other ways. He often expressed his love for pets, treating them as part of his inner circle. Animals played a big role in giving him joy and companionship, especially when the demands of music could feel overwhelming. His connection to his pets reflected the nurturing side of his personality and reminded fans that behind the powerful image of a guitarist was someone who cared deeply about the small, meaningful bonds that make a home feel alive. The absence of children in the public record did not diminish his family story. Instead, it highlighted how every person builds their version of family in different ways. For Brent, it was about his marriage, his pets, and the circle of close people who stood with him through his journey. This sense of belonging shaped the kind of artist he became. Music often carried hints of love, reflection, and emotion that went beyond the surface of heavy riffs. Those qualities came from the stability and affection he experienced in his personal life. In many ways, his relationship with Erica helped shape his artistry. Love brings out emotions that cannot be faked, and those emotions often find their way into creative work. Brent's music carried both fire and tenderness, anger and beauty, and part of that balance came from the experiences he drew from his marriage. It gave him more than just a partner. It gave him inspiration. Through her support, he could pour his heart into performances that fans felt in their bones. Legacy that fans will never forget. When the music fades and the lights dim, what remains of an artist is the mark they leave behind. For Brent Hinds, that mark is carved deep in the hearts of those who loved him, both on stage and off it. His legacy is not measured only in his fortune or awards, but in the lasting influence he left on people who admired his creativity, his spirit, and the way he poured his soul into every note. Bandmates were among the first to speak about what Brent meant to them. Having shared countless hours on tour buses, in studios, and on stages, they saw sides of him that fans could only imagine. To them, he was more than a guitarist. He was the creative spark that often pushed Mastodon forward. His ability to mix sounds, experiment with new ideas, and take risks made him a driving force in their success. They remembered his humor, his unpredictability, and his unstoppable passion for music. These memories painted a picture of a man who gave his full self to every project, leaving behind a friendship and brotherhood that can never be replaced. Friends outside of the band also shared stories that reflected his unique character. They recalled moments of laughter, long conversations about music, and his restless search for something new. He was never content with standing still, always eager to try something different. Whether it was a new sound, a fresh collaboration, or even just a playful idea. To his friends, he was inspiring not only for his talent, but for his curiosity, which never faded. Fans, however, carried the most emotional part of his legacy. They were the ones who felt his music as a part of their lives. To them, Brent was not just a musician, but a voice that carried them through struggles, celebrations, and quiet moments of reflection. Concertgoers remembered the thrill of watching him perform, the way his guitar seemed to speak directly to their hearts. Others spoke about how Mastodon's albums became soundtracks to their lives, offering comfort when things felt heavy and energy when they needed strength. These personal connections made fans feel that they had lost more than a musician. They had lost a companion who had walked beside them through the power of music. What touched many was the understanding that Brent's wealth was not simply in money. His fortune stretched far beyond material possessions. The true wealth he left was in the memories people carried, the inspiration he provided, and the cultural footprint he stamped on modern music. Every fan who wore a Mastodon shirt, every young guitarist who learned one of his riffs, and every listener who found comfort in his songs was part of the treasure he built. This kind of wealth could not be counted in numbers, but it was greater than gold. The symbolism of his fortune reminded people that art can outlive its creator. Brent may have gained financial success from album sales, tours, and projects, but what mattered most was how those achievements touched lives. His music will continue to play for generations, proving that the real reward of his career was not what he earned, but what he gave. This idea became a comfort to fans who struggled with his absence. They understood that while the man was gone, the music and the emotions it carried would remain forever. Future musicians also found themselves deeply shaped by his example. Many spoke of Brent as the reason they picked up a guitar or dared to experiment with sounds that others thought were too unusual. His courage to cross boundaries and his refusal to play it safe gave younger artists permission to follow their own paths. By inspiring them, he ensured that his influence would echo through new songs, new bands, and new generations of music lovers. So, now that he is gone, what is left of his fortune? The fortune that lives on. When an artist leaves the world, their music often continues to breathe life into the hearts of listeners. For Brent Hinds, that is the story that remains. His estate, his royalties, and his creative works still carry his voice and his guitar across time, ensuring that the fortune he built never fades. This fortune is more than numbers in a bank account. It is a living memory, passed down through songs that continue to earn, inspire, and comfort. Much of Brent's estate comes from the royalties tied to Mastodon's extensive catalog. Every time a song from Leviathan, Crack the Sky, or Emperor of Sand is streamed, purchased, or performed, income flows back to his estate. The beauty of royalties is that they do not end when an artist's career does. They carry on for decades, offering financial stability for loved ones while also keeping the music alive for fans around the world. His work with side projects like Fiend Without a Face and West End Motel also contributes to this legacy, ensuring that even his less commercial projects continue to hold value. Intellectual property adds another important layer. Brent's compositions, lyrics, and recordings remain legally protected, making them valuable assets that will continue to generate income whenever they are used. Whether through licensing in films, television, games, or re-releases of classic albums, his creative output remains both financially and culturally significant. These rights protect his artistry while ensuring that those closest to him benefit from the work he gave his life to. On August 20th, 2025, Brent lost his life in a tragic motorcycle accident in Atlanta when a vehicle failed to yield at an intersection and struck him. He was pronounced dead at the scene at just 51 years old. The band revealed the heartbreaking news shortly after, expressing deep grief and regret over the loss of such a creative soul. His passing turned his legacy from lasting music into a memorial, making each note, riff, and memory all the more precious in the hearts of his fans. Speculation naturally turns to inheritance and how this fortune is managed. His spouse, Erica, is likely at the center of this responsibility, ensuring that the estate remains stable and carefully handled. The distribution of his assets may also involve other close family members, creating a circle of trust around the fortune he built. While the details are private, the broader picture is clear. His estate continues to provide for those he loved most, a final gift from a man whose music gave him the ability to create security. For fans, however, the emotional side of this legacy is what carries the deepest meaning. Every time a listener presses play on a Mastodon track, they are not only revisiting a memory, but also contributing to Brent's ongoing story. The royalties that flow from those streams and sales become part of the living fortune that connects the artist to his supporters. Fans often feel that by supporting his music, they are helping to keep his legacy strong. This emotional bond transforms ordinary listening into an act of remembrance, one that turns grief into comfort. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.